This is a project I started over a year ago for my web programming class. And the reason I decided to do this project was because at work we needed a way to track our inventory and our incidents. It's probably not something that we're going to end up ever using, but it was still an idea for my project. And this is actually an MVC web app that I created in Visual Studio. And I'm going to run this and I'll show you the project and each page. Here's my web request page. I'll start here and I'll go through each one. The purpose of this web request page is to log incidents, requests, and questions that a user may have. And I actually plan on, I wouldn't say this project is complete. There's still a few more things that I could add to it, but I got to a good stopping point. So I've moved on now, and I'm going to work on something else. But anyways, this work request page, the plan was to have a page for a user to go to, and there's like a form that they can fill out that has this information, like their employee name and their description of whatever their problem is and a status. I could also go in as a administrator after I've logged in. This is actually just a this doesn't actually do anything. It's just text up here. But I was going to have basically the same thing for the for the administrator, a login page, which I haven't implemented that yet. So say somebody has a laptop and they dropped it. It needs to be replaced. I'm going to double click on this new field. The date. This is automatically filled in with the current date and time. The employee. See, I have a select with all of the employees in here. These employees you can add and edit in this employees tab, which I'll show you later. Let's say I'll just pick a random one. Description: dropped laptop needs repair. The status, I'll say this is open, and I'll save it. And as you can see, it puts it in here. Also, you can double click on one. I'll double click on this one. You know, I can change all these employees. Like I said, this actually queries the database for a list of all the employees and fills in this, or it creates an option for each one. And say I actually work on this and complete it, I'll change this to closed and I'll save it. I could also type, blah. Oops, I messed up and hit cancel, and it'll go back to closed. Another feature up here is the filters, and this is on each page where you can type in, any filter you want. It basically removes all of the rows where this column doesn't match your filter. So say I want an employee that has letter A in it, and the description has a letter N in it, or NE. And that could be useful if, this work request page gets huge. I've only got a little bit of test data in here. Another feature is you can click on the column headers, and it'll actually sort the data in the table. And to do this, I actually use a jQuery plugin called Table Sorter, which was actually awesome to implement because it's just one line of code. So that's pretty much it for the work request page. I'll move on to the work log page. And the purpose of this is to log the work done by the administrator. And as you can see, the fields are the ID, the date, administrator, subject notes, and the work request. This actually links back to, let me go ahead and start a new one and I'll show you. The ID field's blank because that's automatically generated when I save it to the database. Again, date is today's date and time. Ideally, if I do have a login page for the administrators, this would go ahead and select this option for you based on whatever administrator is logged in. These are two administrators that I created, which is first name, last name. This is actually my middle name, and I'm a junior, so very creative. Like I said, it would automatically fill this in there's a login page for the administrator. Subject, I could say fixed laptop sent to HP for repair. And then work request, I can actually choose this work request that I created. But I thought about putting the work request ID here, but I thought if I put the description, it'd be easier to see which one it actually is. In a big organization, this would fill up really quickly, so I may be able to change this down to just the... Okay, I'll just go ahead and save this. Save this to just the open ones. Actually, back in this work request, I thought about, instead of just text here, I thought about having a drop down with open, closed, and pending, or whatever. And then something else I thought about for the future, or another feature to add, would be when you actually choose this work request, have another column here with the actual status of the work request that you can change it, save it here, and it would actually update this table. So that's pretty much it for the work log table. Now I'll show you the transaction table. Okay, the purpose of the transaction table is basically to keep a log of all your outgoing and incoming hardware. Something you definitely want to keep track of if you're assigning computers to people and then getting them back. You can take notes on if it was damaged or whatever notes you want to put if it's outgoing. And the fields you can see here are, transaction ID, the date, hardware. This is actually hardware and user. This actually creates, a drop down from all the hardware we have saved in here. Same thing with users, like in the work request table. It pulls from here, the employee, all the employees. Device name, that's basically like the name of the computer if you're assigning a computer to somebody. Computer 4. I could save that. Yeah, just edited that and saved it to the database. Any notes you want to put, like I said earlier, like if something's broken, or let me create a new one. Say I assigned A. Anderson this hardware on this date. As you can see, 2010, that's when I put this test data in, when I was working on it over a year ago. Now let's say A. Anderson's had this for a year, so I want to assign it back to us, the technology, which... Let me go ahead and actually create a technology employee. I guess it's not really an employee. Save that. Go back to the transaction tab. A. Anderson. Nope. It's going to technology. And when I got it back, it had been thrown against a wall. A. Anderson did not like it very much. And again, I can filter. I can see technology user. I can see everything A. Anderson's had. See what all else he's broken. I'd also like to create like a built-in report. I'll probably make it just a button or just a link up here that you can click on that would show you the current status and location and what users have all the hardware. Because like I said, this is actually a log of everything that happens to the hardware. So I could assign this to somebody and then get it back in technology and then assign it to somebody else and get it back. And I've seen in the past where I've used inventory tracking software before, where it just in the hardware, like there would be a hardware table that would just have the current user that it's assigned to. And I thought that was bad because, like I said, you want to keep track of every user that's had the hardware. So same thing. Like I said, filter and sorting, and I've already edited one and created a new one. That's pretty much it for the transaction tab. I'll go to the install page here. The purpose of the install page is to keep track of all your installed software and the license key. Same thing here. ID, date, transaction ID. I'm not sure exactly Why I chose to put the transaction ID in there when I was doing this originally, hard to remember what I was thinking over a year ago. Ideally, it would be the hardware. You know, you install software to hardware, and then I could actually pull the transaction through the hardware. You know, drop down, you get a list of the transactions. I would change that to hardware if I was doing it all over again. Or just in the future, just change it to hardware. Here's the software. Every business should have World of Warcraft. I actually haven't played that game since like last March. I couldn't afford the $15 a month subscription. And you have your drop down of licenses. You can also select, this could be null. But say I want to choose Office. When I choose Office, it removes all of the previously selected software as license keys and adds your new selection. Save it. Same thing here, I can create a new one. Just leave it blank. Again, I'd like to implement a report, a button or a link where I could get a list of all the available software and license keys that I haven't used. That's pretty much the install page. And these last four are actually pretty basic tables here. I don't think any of these link to a different table. But same thing here. I could create a new hardware that's, and again, another thing, just a drop down that I could put here that has, you know, desktops, laptops, monitors, whatever type of hardware you have. The model is a blah. The note's blah. Save. So then if I go back to a transaction, I could create a new one and then choose this hardware I just created, blah. Same thing, you can sort, you can filter. Like I want to see all the laptops that are of the blah model. Software, pretty basic table here again, just the name of it, the version, and the number of licenses you have. This is actually, I considered this license number being a count of all the licenses you have in here, but there are things like Office. You can have an enterprise version with a whole bunch of different, I mean, where you have like a high number of licenses, but you only have like one license key. So I didn't do it that way. It's just a number you can type in. And then in the license table, yeah, that actually does link to the software. You choose from a drop down, which it pulls from the software table, and you type in your license key. And the employee table, again, you saw me come here earlier to create this technology user. Same thing as all the other ones. And that's basically it. If you have any more comments or suggestions or questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them. And as always, if you have any project ideas, please leave them for me. I've got a huge list already of projects I want to work on, but some of them I don't think would be very worthwhile. But anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good day.